Hello, my name's John Winslade and I'm a professor at California State University, San Bernardino. And this is a video in a series of videos on school counselling. And this particular video is going to give you an example of a special process, an exciting new process called an undercover anti-bullying team. Now, as the name suggests, it's a process that's designed to address situations where bullying has been taken place. And what I mean by bullying includes a variety of things. It includes persistent teasing, it includes physical bullying, it includes relational aggression, or what has been called relational aggression, and it also includes things that we nowadays call cyberbullying. The approach is based on a different than normal approach in that it avoids punishment and therefore avoids the possibility of the victim receiving retaliation for speaking to an adult about what has happened when they've been bullied. Rather than that, and rather than using a punishing approach, it enlists students into changing and transforming, in fact, the bullying relation. It includes both bullies and the bystanders in the process of transformation, and actually doesn't even require the victim to confront the bully, but the victim does, on the other hand, have the power of veto to decide when the process has been successful and when it will be brought to a close. The origins of this approach lie in the Mains and Robinson's no-blame approach to bullying, but it was developed a little bit by Bill Hubbard and then by Mike Williams, and was written about in our book, the book that Mike Williams and I wrote called Safe and Peaceful Schools. This is one place where you can find an explanation of how the undercover team process works. The principles of this process are based on the narrative idea that the person is not the problem, the problem is the problem. In this case, what that means is the bully is not the problem, the bullying is the problem. Bullying, as we think of it, is a relational exchange that takes place along a familiar and well-known plot trajectory. In other words, the people that are doing it did not invent it. They didn't start it up, they're just carrying out a plot that is already known, well known. In these terms, we think of bullying as a narrative performance that needs to be replaced with the performance of some other kind of relationship. It's not the result of the bullies as persons being bad people or sick people, because I don't believe that anyone is a bully by nature. Often those people who are doing the bullying are not even fully aware of the effects of their actions on others. But they also are participating in this bullying relationship with a person who is in the designated position of being a victim, and with other students who are designated as bystanders. These are names, as I think of them, as of positions in a relation rather than of persons. Actually, bullies are often of high self-esteem and tend often to be leaders in other ways in the school. Sometimes they are acting upon general social norms about anybody who is different and targeting difference for being the victims of bullying. So it's not surprising, therefore, that the most common people who become victims of bullying are students with disabilities, members of racial minorities, LGBTQ students, or anyone who is different in any other way you can imagine. So let's talk about the undercover team. An undercover team involves 6 students, and it doesn't include the victim, but it does include, surprisingly, the 2 worst bullies. They are included in the undercover team. But they are outnumbered by 4 other members of the team who are students who have not been bullied or have not been doing any bullying. They are nominated by the victim, and sometimes with some help from a teacher, to become members of the team. They are invited then to participate in an undercover project. The undercover project creates some intrigue which students often really enjoy, but it also encourages them to be careful not to give the game away about what they're doing, and to think about it a little more in terms of how they will actually make the person who has been the victim feel better in their relationships with others in the school. Their goal is not so much to get engaged in any kind of confrontation with the bully, although that sometimes can happen, so much as to change the experience of the victim so that they are not continuing to suffer the effects of the bullying itself. The bullies are given a choice whether or not to join in with the change, or at least not to interfere with what others are doing, and they're not required to out themselves or to be blamed or to be even identified unless they choose to do so for themselves. So how does the process work? The undercover team begins with the counsellor in the school talking with the victim and interviewing them about what has happened and what effect it has had. Then the victim is invited to name the 6 students who will be part of the undercover team. Later, the team itself is gathered together, the victim is not present, and the team is invited to be part of the change. They're told the story of what's happened before they get to know who the person who's the victim has been. And they are never told the names of the bullies, but the 2 worst bullies are sitting there, and they have the choice of outing themselves or else staying quiet and resisting any kind of invitation or impulse to take up responsibility or blame themselves. But they are, in order not to do that, they actually have to take part in, or at least support, or at least implicitly support, the change or transformation that's about to take place. From there, the counsellor meets alternately with the team and with the victim, the undercover team and with the victim, every few days to check on and monitor progress. It usually takes about 2 weeks, but sometimes longer, and it's the victim's job to tell the counsellor when the team has been successful and when their job is completed. At this point, they're usually given a certificate from the school principal and a small food voucher to thank them for their role, and are invited to talk about how they found it. Most students find the process fun to be part of, and they enjoy the chance to do something that makes a difference for somebody else. All the way through, the process is monitored carefully by the counsellor writing down exactly what the students say in the exact words that they use. So we're going to show you this process now. It's going to be a role play rather than an actual situation, because that would be too hard for us to film. It's designated or designed, if you like, to illustrate the process, and it's not obviously going to show all the problems that can come up, and there are many of them. There are many challenges that can arise. Anything you can imagine has happened. But even so, despite the fact that anything you can imagine has happened, many times this process has proved very, very successful, and it has changed the experience of people who've been victims of bullying. It's also, I think, affected the culture of bullying within a classroom and within a school. So my invitation to you is to watch it and think about how you might be able to use it and implement this in your school, and rather than sitting and watching it and thinking of when it might go wrong and what might not work. So let's have a look now at the role play of an undercover anti-bullying team. Okay, well, hi Wyatt. Thanks for coming in. I know I called you down here because I heard from Mr. Lopez. He's your teacher, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he told me that this morning you were looking like you were upset, and he was concerned about you, okay? So I'm wondering what's been happening that's been leaving you feeling upset, because I'm concerned about that.
Well, people have been like bullying me, like calling me names.
Really?
And stuff.
Okay, that's obviously concerning you. So I'd like to find out a little bit about what's been going on. Can you tell me a little bit about when you say people have been bullying you, what does that mean? What's been happening?
They're like telling me I'm gross and stuff. And fat and stuff like that.
Right. Like when you say people, you mean it's been a lot of people, or just one person, or what?
Like 2 people, but...
2 people in particular?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been doing it like a lot, so...
Right. Like I know you've just recently come to the school, just a few weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And has this been happening ever since you got here, or just more recently than that, or what?
It's been happening like after the first day I was there, so...
After the first day, right?
Yeah.
So that's like about 4 weeks now, right? If I think that's about right. Does that sound right? Yeah, okay. So I'm imagining that's been pretty awful for you.
Yeah.
It is? Okay. And you mentioned that they've been calling you names. Anything else that's been going on?
Well, not really, but
Like no one's actually touched you or done anything to hurt you physically?
well, they haven't, but they, I don't know, they sounds like it's getting to that.
Like you're concerned about that or afraid that that will happen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Wyatt, when something like this happens, I've got an idea of a thing that we sometimes do that, in my experience, always seems to work to fix a situation like that so that it feels better and that you're not being bullied in any way. And I'm wondering if you would be willing to try this and see if we can actually make that happen so that the bullying goes away. What do you think about that?
Sure.
You're kind of willing to give this a try?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit unsure, but you're willing to try from what I'm seeing on your face, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What we call this, Wyatt, is an undercover anti-bullying team. And it involves actually getting together a group of people who can help you to not feel like you're being bullied and to feel like you're actually being made welcome in the school, because that's what we would really like to see happen for you. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. So in order to do that, I've got a little sheet of paper here that I want to just carefully note down from you, if that's okay. Is that okay if I write down some things that you tell me?
Okay.
Okay. And I want to write down really what's been happening so that I can actually, what I'm going to do is actually write these things down. You're not going to actually have to meet with this team who are going to support you at all. I'm just going to talk to you and then I'm going to talk to them on their own. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to write down what's been going on, and then I'm going to tell them what's been going on and ask them what they think about it and see if they can come up with some ideas to make these things change and make you feel better. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. There's one other thing, and this is going to be a bit of a surprise. I'm going to ask the people who've been doing the bullying to be part of this team, and they're going to try and help to make things different for you. Now that's a bit of a surprise, I guess, right? Yeah, well, in my experience, that's actually one of the most important things, because it helps them to realise what's going on and to stop this and to change it for them as well. But I'm not going to get anybody into trouble, right? I'm not going to be blaming anyone, I'm not going to be asking anyone to be punished. No one's going to be punished. We're actually going to be, the aim is not to find out who did something wrong and punish them. The aim is to help you feel better at school. Is that okay?
Yes.
Any questions about that so far?
Wait, so the bullies are gonna do it?
Yeah, well they're going to do it, or at least going to help the others to do it.
Do you know who they are?
I don't know the bullies, I'm going to ask you that. You're going to have to tell me.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I know it sounds surprising that they're going to help to do it, but I'm going to do this in a way that every time we've done this, every single time we've done it, the bullies have actually, in the end, come around to helping to make the change. And if they can help to make the change, they can often do it better than anybody. Does that make sense? I know you're not sure how that's going to happen yet, but we'll figure it out, okay? So it's W-Y-A-T-T?
Yeah.
That's right?
Yes.
And tell me, you said that this bullying started like one day after the start of school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll just write that down here. And what year level are you in, Wyatt?
What?
What year are you in? What grade?
I'm in 6th. I'm going into 6th.
6th grade, okay. Yeah, so you've started the new school year, so you're into 6th grade, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
6th grade.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I'd like you now to tell me what happened, what has been happening, and you're going to need to tell me who are the people that did it in a minute, but we'll
Okay.
just go into the story of what's been happening in as much detail as you can, okay? So, going back to that first day after you came here, it was like the second day, I think you said, What happened that day? What happened?
People started calling me names and stuff.
Calling me names? Like what?
Retarded.
Like retarded? What else? Like, I know it's not fun to repeat these things, but I need to know exactly what the names were that they were calling you. What have they been calling you?
Like gay and stuff.
Gay? Anything else? Right, like, have they been saying this to you in class or out of class or what?
While we're like changing classes.
Okay. While changing classes. So, have they been doing this like every day since that day, or just some days, or what?
Yeah, every day.
Every day. Okay. And do they say the same thing every time, retarded and gay, or do they say any other things sometimes? Or
They call me like fat and stuff.
okay. And when you say and stuff, what else is there?
Like sore loser.
Okay. Because you're new here, right? And they've kind of picked on you for being new here. Has it been like that at all, or what?
Yeah, I think it's because I'm new.
You think it's because you're new? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm new. And you came here from
Wyoming.
From Wyoming, right? And you've been at another school in Wyoming, had you? Is that right? Has this ever happened to you before? No? Sorry, what do you mean?
I was homeschooled.
You were homeschooled, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not really what the bullying's been about, though, is it, or not? Or has it?
I don't know. They might do it because I'm homeschooled.
Okay. You're not sure?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. They might do it because I've been homeschooled. Okay. Anything else that's happened?
No, not really.
Like no one's been threatening you that, because you said before that you were afraid that it could get physical, that it could get hurt.
Yeah, because they've been saying it like really meanly to me and stuff. You know.
They've been saying it meanly, right?
Yeah.
And when they say it, what do other people do?
They like laugh at me.
Other people laugh?
Yeah.
Okay. Has anybody sort of like stuck up for you?
No, not really.
Not really, okay. So if I write down, no one has stuck up for me, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, no one has stuck up for me. Anything else that I need to know about what's happened? Okay. So I've got a few questions to ask. Like, how have you been made to feel different? Have they made you feel different from other people?
Yeah.
How? Like, how would that be? Why?
Like no one likes me or anything.
Like they've said that? What do you mean? It
Like,
makes you
no
feel
one's-
like no one likes you.
Yeah, because they don't stick up for me, so.
Okay. And no one likes you, like they made you feel like no one likes you because any particular reason?
Because, like, no one's, like, stuck up for me or anything.
Okay. Because no one has stuck up for me. Okay. So, what has this made you think about or feel like, or like what's been the effect of it for you? It's like Mr. Lopez says you were upset this morning, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about what's been going on for you while this has been happening.
Well, it makes me like unfocused a little.
It makes you unfocused, right? It makes me unfocused. Now I used the word, it sounds like you've been more than unfocused, because when I look at your face right now, you look kind of focused but not very happy. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
How would you put it? Like, how have you been feeling as a result of all this?
Lonely.
Lonely, okay. So it makes me feel lonely, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? What else does it make you feel?
Like I'm a jerk or something.
Okay. Okay. Or like, I'm a jerk. I'm sorry that it's felt like that for you, Wyatt. I imagine that must be quite hard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Anything else that you've been, like, had any things that you've been thinking about as a result of all this that's been going on? Any thoughts that are going through your mind?
I just want them to like stop.
Okay. I just want them to stop. Anything else?
No.
You just keep thinking that over and over, like, I just want them to stop?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Has it affected your schoolwork at all?
Yeah, like I said, it's making me like unfocused
Okay.
because I'm like thinking about what they did.
It's making me unfocused on schoolwork, you mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like all the time about what they did, is that what you said?
Yeah.
All the time about what they did. Anything else that it's been affecting as far as your schoolwork is concerned?
Makes me don't want to go to school.
It makes you not want to go to school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes me don't want to go to school. Have you ditched school at all, or do you not?
No.
Like, that's a thought that it makes you have, but it doesn't. You haven't actually done it.
No.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Anything else that it gets you to think about doing, or what?
No. Not really.
Okay. Like sometimes, I mean, I ask that because sometimes it gets people to fight back or to say things back to them or whatever it might be. Then you haven't thought about doing anything like that, or you have done anything like that? No, you just sort of suffered on the inside while it's been going on? Right, okay. Yeah. Does anybody else know that you've been going through this?
I don't think.
Right. Like, have you talked to your family about this at all?
No.
You haven't? Like, I'm interested in why that might be. I'm not saying you should have, I'm just interested to know. Why do you think you might not have done that?
They can't really do anything about it.
They can't do anything to help you? Okay. So it's like you've thought to yourself, this is something I just have to deal with on my own? Right?
Yeah.
And yet it's been something that's been making you upset and suffering on your own, right? And feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm really sorry that it's been doing that for you, Wyatt, and it's not what I would like. When a new person comes to our school, I want them to feel welcome. And so I'm sad that this is happening, and I want to do something to try and help it to stop. How does that sound to you?
Okay.
Okay. Tell me one more thing I want to ask you, and then I'm going to get on to thinking about who's going to help you. If you could get things to change, and I know this is a lot to ask of you on your own, so that's why I'm going to get some other people to help, right? What would you ideally like things to be like? What would you, if you could make things how you would like them, what would be happening?
Like, make some friends, I guess.
Okay, make some friends. Anything else?
Make me more focused.
Like make me more focused. Right, what else?
It would nothing else really, but
Would you, I mean, what I'm wondering is whether you'd like the bullying to stop,
yeah.
right? What would you say? How would you put that?
Yeah, I want the bullying to stop.
I want the bullying to stop. Okay? And if it stopped, what would be happening, right? What would be happening that would let us know that it had stopped?
Well, I would do like less like this, I guess.
Less like this?
Less
Yeah, I would feel a lot less upset.
Yeah.
Right. Less upset. And you would have some friends and you'd be more focused. Anything else that would be different?
It would make me want to go to school.
Okay. Like, I would want to go to school, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, it sounds like a lot of the time you sort of don't really want to go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you ever tell your mom and dad that, or what?
No, they're like always busy with stuff.
Right, okay. So you just have been handling this on your own?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, now I'm going to ask you this, because I want to make a team of 6 people who are going to help you. And I need to know the names of the 2 people who've been doing the bullying, because I want to invite them to be on the team, but they're going to be outnumbered by 4 other people.
Okay.
So can you tell me who are the 2 people who have been the worst at the bullying?
Dawson and Corey.
Dawson, okay. And Corey? Okay. Now, can you think of some names of some other people in your class who are not people who've been doing the bullying, who might be able to help out, and as far as you know, haven't been bullied themselves? And I know you haven't been here very long, but you may have some ideas at the moment of some others who might be able to help.
Caitlin.
Caitlin, okay. Right. Anybody else?
Zion.
Zion, okay,
Yeah.
right, Zion, okay. I know Zion, yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
No.
Not right now.
No.
So maybe, would it be okay if I ask like if I ask Mr. Lopez if he can think of 2 other people who might be able to help?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, look. What I'm going to do is, at lunchtime, I'm going to ask these 4 people plus the 2 others that Mr. Lopez suggests to come and meet with me, and then I'm going to ask them to become a team that's going to help you to feel like you have more friends, that they can help you to be more focused, that they can stop the bullying and give you a chance to feel less upset and make things so that you want to go to school. Okay?
Okay.
And then I'm going to give them a few days to try and make those things happen. But what I'm going to tell them is this. They have to do this without everybody knowing, so it's like an undercover team. Understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not going to make it so obvious that everybody in the class can see, right? They've got to be a little bit more careful and a bit subtle, right? And then I'm going to ask you maybe next Monday. I'm going to ask you to come back, and then I'll ask you like how has things been going and whether anything's getting better. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And if it has been getting better, then that's great. But it won't be until you decide that things have changed that they get their reward. And the reward's going to be a food voucher and a certificate from the principal. Okay?
Okay.
For helping out on an undercover team. But you're going to be the one who decides when they've done their job.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to keep checking with you next Monday, and if again maybe the following Monday, and again the following Monday if need be, and as many times as we need until we're sure that the bullying has stopped and that you're feeling these things, like you have some friends, that you're more focused, that you're not upset anymore, and that you feel like much happier about wanting to go to school. That's kind of what you would like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we will kind of keep working at this, and I will work with them and get them to make this to happen. And I'll keep checking in with you. You don't have to confront them at all, right? The people who've been doing the bullying. You just need to get on with kind of your schoolwork and keep staying focused on that, and we'll try and change this so that you're feeling much better. Because I want you to feel happy and welcome at school. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Right, thanks Wyatt, and I'll let you get back to your, is it your math class now?
I think it's science.
You think it's science? Okay,
Yeah.
Math's already finished, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, probably, okay. Well, I'll let you get back to your science class then, okay?
Okay.
We'll catch up with you next Monday. See you then.
So why are we here? Are we in trouble or something?
No, nobody's in trouble. I've actually asked you here to help me with something. So just before I get in, I'm going to explain what that's about. But before I do, I just want to check who's who, because I don't know all of you. Like
I'm Mateo.
you're Mateo and
Sam.
and
I'm Dawson.
you're Dawson
Corey.
and
Sion,
Simon
Caitlin.
and Caitlin. Right, that's the names of the people I had on my list here. The reason I've asked you here is because I want to ask your help with something. I've had a conversation with one of the students who I think you all know, who is in your class, and some stuff has been happening that's made this person upset and unhappy, and I think it's necessary and it's useful if we get some people together to help make this person's life a bit happier. And I'll tell you a little bit about why. Does that sound okay so far? Are you willing to help make things better for somebody?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not? Okay. You okay with that, Corey? Okay. So basically what's been happening is that there's been a little bit of some stuff that's been happening that's kind of like not the most serious kind of stuff, but it's been kind of bullying. You know, it's kind of been, someone's been picked on and it's been going on for a little while, right? Like for about 3 or 4 weeks. And what I'd like to do is this. I'd like to tell you the story of what's been happening, and then we'll think about how you might be able to help this person to feel better. And I want you to be clear that what we're not doing here is finding anyone to blame. Right? This isn't about finding who did it, or I don't care who did it, I just want it to stop. Right? I'm not worried about trying to blame anybody or get anyone in trouble or get anybody punished. I just want to actually help the person who's being bullied. Is that okay? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I tell you this person, I'm going to tell you the person's name, but I want to read out to you what's been going on first. Does that make sense? This person says this it's a boy who was came to the school at the start of the school year, and he was new. And since he's been here, since about the second day he's been here, he says people have been calling him names, or some people have been calling him names like retarded or gay, especially between classes, while classes have been changing. And this has been happening every day. Sometimes they call him fat or sore loser. And he thinks it's because he's been new here. He thinks that they might do it because he's been homeschooled in the past. And he says they've been saying these things very meanly. And he says other people have been laughing when these people have been saying these things. And what has been bothering him is that no one has stuck up for him. Those are the things that he's told me, right? Can you imagine what this would be like if this was happening to you?
Really bad.
It'd be really bad, Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You wouldn't like it, would you? No. Well, this is what he says it's been like. He says he's been made to feel different, like nobody likes him because nobody has stuck up for him. And he said that he feels like, in terms of his schoolwork, he starts to feel unfocused, and that it makes him feel lonely and like he must be a jerk. And he just wants it all to stop. You imagine again what this would be like if this was happening to you, like Mateo, what would you think it would be like?
Well, I mean, you just like constantly be just, it would be hard.
It would be
Like,
hard, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So if you were in that situation, you know what it would be like, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is what he said. It said it's making him unfocused on his schoolwork, and he can't stop thinking about it, about what these people have been doing, and so he can't think about his schoolwork, right? And that's what we're here for, to actually learn and get on with your schoolwork. He says sometimes it makes him, often it actually it makes him feel like he doesn't want to go to school. You can imagine if you were in this situation, what it would be like that you might not want to go to school too. Can you imagine that? And when I asked him what he would really like to happen, he said these things. He'd like to make some friends, because he's new here, right? And he'd like to be more focused on his schoolwork, and he'd like this bullying to stop, which would help him to feel more focused. And he'd like to feel less upset, and he would like to feel like he wants to come to school rather than feeling like he doesn't want to come to school. Does that sound like reasonable things for anybody to want?
Yeah.
You would agree with that too, Sam? What do you think, Dawson?
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens?
You put up with stuff as they come.
Right, okay. Yeah, this stuff does happen, and when it happens, my hope is that we can actually work together, and that's why I called you guys here to do it, because you folks are here, by the way, because this person told me your names and suggested you as being people who might be able to help. And also I checked with Mr. Lopez, and he gave me one or two extra names, and so that's how come we've got you folk here. What do you think about this, Corey? Any thoughts you have about what it would be like if you were in this situation?
I mean, it's sad, I guess.
It's a bit sad, yeah. So you kind of have a bit of a sense of sympathy for what someone would be feeling?
I guess, yeah.
I guess, okay. So, what seems to, in my experience, make a difference is that if we can actually, in a minute, is it okay if I tell you the name of this person?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're going to have to, I'm going to have to tell you in order for you to be able to do something, right? You have to actually, and I'm not wanting to, as I said before, I'm not wanting to blame anybody. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I just want to help this person feel better. And it sounds like, if I'm right, that you're willing to do that. You're willing to kind of help me to get that to happen. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah.
You okay to do that?
Yeah.
You are, right? And you are too?
Yeah.
What about you, Corey?
Sure, yeah.
And you, Zion?
Yeah, sounds like good.
Okay, it sounds good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, the person's name is Wyatt. You know Wyatt?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Wyatt. Wyatt. Yeah, he's
Okay. So you do know Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
Just about everybody does.
Just about everybody does, right. So he's, as you know, he's new to the school and he's been here from, I think it's Wyoming that he's come from.
Yeah.
So what I'm wanting to do is to ask you to do this. And by the way, if you are successful, I want to offer you a little bit of a reward. Okay? I'm going to give you each like a $3 food voucher, and it's just a little thing, but it's a token. You know, each of you will be able to go and buy something for yourselves as a reward for helping out another person. And you're also going to get a certificate from the principal. But there's one thing I want you to think about this. This has got to be undercover. We call this an undercover team. And do you know what undercover means,
Yeah.
Caitlin? What does it mean to you? What do you think?
Like, if you're trying, let's say, if you're a spy or something, you're undercover
Right.
and people don't know, like, what you're doing there. You're just like a person there.
You're just like
Okay.
one of the people in
Yeah.
the background and nobody quite knows
Yeah.
that you're the spy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like you to think of it like that, right? In other words, you're going to be an undercover team, and the people who are not going to know are the other people in your class, the other kids. Mr. Lopez knows that we've got a team, but he doesn't even know who all the people are yet. And he doesn't know who the person is who's being bullied yet. But he knows that this undercover team is going to be working in the class, and I've asked him to keep it to himself and not tell all the other kids, right? So, you getting the picture?
Yeah.
I want you to do this a little bit carefully and a bit secretly, but I want you to make things better for Wyatt and see if you can do that, right? And I'm going to ask you to come up with 5 ideas for things that we can do that are going to make him feel like he has some friends, he can be more focused at school, he can feel like the bullying stopped, he can feel less upset, and he can feel like these are the things he said, that he wants to go to school again, right? So, I am guessing that you folk have got some really good ideas if you can actually think about them. So, can anybody come up with like their first suggestion of what would be one thing that you folk could do? You don't all have to do the same things. You could do different things, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's boys and girls. Sometimes the things that boys and girls do are different, right? Anybody got a suggestion for one thing that we could do that could help Wyatt to feel like things are different?
Well, maybe we could like sit with him at lunch and stuff and eat lunch with him maybe.
Okay, is that okay? We write that down.
Yeah.
Right. So sit with him at lunch. Okay. Let's think of another idea. What's another idea? What else?
Maybe play with him after school or before.
Play with him after school.
Yeah.
Right. Like play. Like what are you thinking about?
Maybe like soccer, basketball. I don't
Right,
know.
like some kind of game
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
play with him after school. Okay, that's 2 ideas. We've got a third one. Anybody come up with another idea? You got an idea there, Matteo?
Oh. No, I don't.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah. Just,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Keep thinking, and
Yeah.
we'll come back to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Dawson, you got any ideas?
None at the moment.
None at the moment. Okay. What about you, Sam?
Not at the moment.
None at the moment. Corey?
I guess you could like compliment him when he does something good, and like,
Okay, like compliment
like if he
him.
gets like a good grade or something. I don't know.
Him when he gets a good grade. Okay? That's 3 ideas. We're doing well. We need 2 more.
Maybe.
You have an idea now,
oh,
Matteo.
yeah. Just like encourage him to just like be more confident and just like
How would you do that? Like if people are encouraging you, what do they do?
they say they make you feel that like you can do something easier, just it makes you feel better about something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like first of all, it sounds like they're going to have to talk to you, right?
Well, yeah,
Right, and say some things that are going to be encouraging. Is that?
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So is that have I got that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So let me write that down as talk to him and say what?
Encouraging things.
Encouraging things. Thanks, Matteo. That's great. One more. Anybody else got another idea?
Well, I guess you could,
Yeah.
if you have an idea. I guess you could like go home and like help him with his homework or something if he needs help with his homework or something.
You check with
Help
him
him.
whether he needs some help,
Yeah.
or ask him if he
Help
needed help.
Yeah.
Okay. So ask if he needs help, and then help him with homework. Have I got that right? Yeah. Okay, that's great. So we have 5 ideas. Now let's go through each one of them and see who's going to do each one of these things. Okay? And remember, we've got to keep this undercover so that nobody else knows, right? So, sit with him at lunch. Who might be able to do that?
I could.
Matteo? Okay. Anyone else?
I could sit with him at lunch too.
Okay. Zion and Caitlin? All on the same day or on different days? Or what?
We could all just whatever.
Really? Yeah, sure.
Whatever, okay.
Yeah.
You can figure that out?
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean, I
figure
don't
it
have
out.
to tell you guys what to do. You can work this
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Undercover teams have to figure these things out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Play with them after school. That was one of your ideas, right?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone like to think about who could do something like that? Who would like to do that?
I can if nobody will. I can.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay, we've got Caitlin and Zion again.
Yeah.
Anybody
Sure.
else? Not for you. You can't manage that. Like you have to get home after school or something. Yeah. Okay. What about you? What do you?
No, I got stuff to do after school.
There's stuff to do after school. Okay. The next one was so we've got 2 people for that anyway. Compliment him when he gets a good grade. That was your idea, right?
I could do that.
You can do that?
I sit next to him, so yeah.
You sit next to him?
Yep.
Okay, right. Anybody else able to do that?
I could.
Matteo could? Somebody else, who was that?
I could.
You could do that too,
Yeah.
Caitlin?
Yeah, I sit kind of far away from him.
And
so.
Zion as well. That's
Yeah.
4 of you,
But
so you
I-
might get 4 compliments.
Yeah, I sit near him, so.
Yeah, I sit kind of more towards the front.
Yeah.
He
Right,
sits
okay.
more towards the back.
Yeah. I sit in like the middle, so.
Yeah, so let me ask you also to think about this, because, I mean, when you do this, you could be like over the top. You could say, "Yay, Wyatt, great job!" And that would kind of be a little too obvious. You know, everyone would get that you were somehow, you would say, "What? This is a little weird, right?"
Yeah.
So you've got to think about how you do this in a way that isn't so weird and isn't so obvious, but how would you do it? Any ideas?
Like when you walk out of class, like going into the next class, you could just be like, "Oh, good job, Wyatt! Like, good job on your test," or something.
Yeah, yeah. So just a little kind of
Yeah.
sort of sneaky, quiet comment,
Yeah.
right? Can you do that, do you think? Those
Yeah.
who are going to try this? Yeah. Okay, the next one was talk to him and say encouraging things. Like that was kind of one of your ideas there,
Yeah.
Matteo. Like, are you willing to be one of the ones that does that?
Sure. Yeah.
I could too.
You could too, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. And once again, that's one of the ones you got to kind of be careful not to do it
Yeah.
too over the top. You got to do it carefully so that nobody else really kind of gets that you're doing this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Anybody else? What about you? Will you do any one of these things too, Dawson?
Well, ain't nothing much I could do. Everybody else got this covered.
Well, there may be something you can add to it. I don't know.
You got anything in mind? 'Cause
Well,
nothing's
I'm
coming
well,
to
asking
mind.
whether you've got anything in mind. That's all.
At
Okay.
the
Well, you
moment.
think about it. You think about it. One more thing here we've got on the list, and that is ask him if he needs help and help him with his homework. Anybody willing to try doing that?
Yeah, we could.
You two can.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you
we-
being helpful.
We
Yeah,
live pretty
we live
close
really
in.
near to each other, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could just both.
So you know
Yeah.
So he lives close to somewhere
Yeah.
close to you?
We,
Yeah.
all three of us live close
Yeah,
to
we
each
live,
other.
we're like
Oh,
neighbors.
that's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so you could ask him about that,
Yeah.
right? Anyone else able to do anything to help with that?
Well, I think I kind of live far away, so
A bit far away, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
right. Okay, well, look, thank you, and I really appreciate you, being able to come here just for a little bit and talk about these things. Now, what's going to happen is this. I'm going to send you on your mission, right? You've got a mission here, right? A secret mission. And I'm going to check first of all with Wyatt, how it's going after a few days. I said to him, I talked to him on Monday, right? And then I'm going to also talk to you, probably about Wednesday next week. And check how it's going from your point of view, right? And tell me if there's any things that you're seeing that are useful or successful or are working, or let's just compare notes and we can come back, and if there's any, maybe next week when I meet with you, you've got some other ideas, some new ideas. That's fine. Does that sound alright?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I said, keep this to yourselves, and I'll check back with you to see how it's going. And if we're successful, remember, I want to kind of give you some kind of little reward, all of you, if the team's successful. Okay.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Go for it. We'll see you again next week. Okay, hi Wyatt, how are you again?
Good.
Good to see you again, and I said a week ago, last time we talked, you were obviously having some problems with the bullying that was going on, and I said I'd check with you again, so I wanted to get back with you and see how things are going, because we did set up that undercover team, and they had a bunch of ideas about what they were going to do to see if they could help make things better for you, and I want to just check with you what it's been like for you since then, right? So tell me what's been happening.
Well, I feel like people have been like more social.
Have they?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? What have they been doing?
They've been doing like the two girls.
Yeah.
They've like helped me with the circumference of a circle on my
Right.
homework because I forgot how to like do the math homework. So yeah.
Okay, so they helped you with the homework thing?
Yeah. Then a day later, well actually, they decided we should walk to school and like planned out to like meet on a bench and like walk
Really?
to school. Yeah.
So that wasn't even one on our list of things that they planned to do. They just did that as well, right? Some other idea. Okay. And what was that like for you?
It was good. I felt like this week I felt like less lonely.
Less lonely. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that we were hoping would happen, that you'd feel less lonely, right? So what about the bullying? Has that happened or not?
No. Not really.
Because the things that were going on they were calling you names, right? They were calling you
Yeah.
all these terms that we wrote down here. And I don't even want to repeat them because they were so nasty, right?
Yeah.
But have any of those things happened?
Mm-mm.
None of them?
But I'm like nervous they might happen again.
They might, okay. So you're not quite sure that it's gone away for good yet,
Yeah.
but you're hoping that it has, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't, the last week it hasn't even happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Has anything else happened that might be a worry?
Okay.
That's making you nervous or not?
No.
No,
Not really.
nothing really has happened. You're just not sure that it's gone away, because it's only been a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me what else? What else has happened that's not like bullying?
What's his name? Like, I forgot his name, but he like had a conversation.
Mateo, Sammy,
Mateo,
Sammy, or Dawson, or Corey. Those are the four guys. Who was it?
I think it was.
Mateo?
Yeah, or Sammy.
Sammy, okay.
Sammy, yeah.
What
He
about
had a
Corey?
conversation about like where my Wyomings.
Right?
Yeah.
Like-
Like what it was like and stuff. So.
Did he came and talked to you about that?
Mhm.
And what was that like?
It was well, I felt like I got to like know people, you know,
A little bit, yeah.
and they got to like know me. So
Right, like, and that's kind of what hasn't been happening because of the bullying's been not letting that happen, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So you got to know people, they got to know you a little bit. Does that make a difference, do you think, to how you feel about things?
yeah.
Like, what difference does it make?
Like I don't feel so lonely or
Right, okay.
upset anymore because no one's like been calling me names and stuff.
Right,
And-
okay. And those are the things that were making you upset and feeling lonely, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I'm really pleased to hear that, Wyatt. I'm thrilled for you. Does it feel a bit much better for you?
mhm,
That's really great. I'm really thrilled, right? And but you're still a little nervous that it might not be completely over, but still you're feeling a lot better, right?
yeah,
One of the things that you said before was that you felt like you didn't want to go to school, right? Has that been the same or better or worse?
definitely changed.
Definitely changed?
Yeah.
Really? Like you've been feeling much better about coming to school?
Mhm.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm thrilled.
I'm more focused on like homework and stuff.
Right, okay.
And-
And now you know how to do the circumference of a circle?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So it's actually affecting your schoolwork and that's kind of making things go better for you?
Yeah.
Am I right in understanding that?
And speaking of which,
Mateo?
Matan, like, and Corey they sit next to me. They told me that I have good grades.
Did they?
Like, yeah, they complimented me on my grades.
Wow. Would that have happened before?
Probably not.
Probably not. So yeah, okay. So that, like, did they do that like so that it embarrassed you, or did they do it so that you kind of appreciated it, or what?
I appreciated it.
You did, okay. Because sometimes people can make it sort of, oh,
Yeah.
you feel yuck, but this wasn't like that. It was,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, that's great. So, tell me if this sounds right. What I'm getting is that things are a lot better, but we still need to just let it go for another week or so to see that it stays better. Is that a fair summary of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I will talk to them and see whether they kind of can say the same kind of thing. And if they do, then that's really great. This feels like the undercover team's been helping. Does that sound like it's true for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to give them their reward just yet because we need to make sure that it's not just a fluke and that it has really gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they might just like do it again after.
That's right. So we want to make sure that the change is really here to stay, right? So let's give it another week and then I'll check with you again. And if necessary, we could go another week, right? If you're still feeling nervous that it might come back. Okay? So thanks, Wyatt. One last question I just want to ask you. And that's anything that you would suggest that you've learned from doing this? Or any thoughts that you would have about that? I'm just curious about that.
Not really, but well, it's to learn the circumference of a circle.
Yeah, okay, I like that. I like that. It really got you to learn that, right? You probably never forget that ever, right? Yeah.
But yeah, it's taught me how to be a little more social.
Has it?
Yeah.
Would you be a little more social now than you've been in the past?
Yeah,
Really?
definitely.
Cool. Right.
It's worked up my conversation skills and stuff.
Has it? Yeah. So it's not like they've just been more social with you. You've been more social with them too? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Like them doing these things has kind of helped you to kind of reach out to them in some way.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Just.
Is that good for you?
Mhm.
Good, okay. Well, I'm pleased about that, and if it comes back, if the bullying were to come back, would you be okay to come and tell me? Because I'd like to know if it ever came back again.
Okay.
Okay? Well, what class are you in now?
I think I'm in forgot what time is it.
Is it science again?
No, it's not science.
You better know
It's-
which class to go back to, otherwise you go to the wrong one, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's math.
It's math.
Yeah,
okay,
no.
And you're still doing circles?
No, I don't think. I think we like moved on to a different unit. or
Okay,
something.
right, okay. Well, I'll let you get back to whatever unit it is, because you need to catch up to that too. Otherwise you'll be having to ask for help with your homework again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, go well, Wyatt, and as I say, I'll check up with you next week, and hopefully things are going well then, okay?
Okay.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, thanks for coming back, folks. Nice to see you all again. And what I want to do is just tell you what I got from talking to Wyatt the other day, a couple of days ago, and then I want to check in with you about how things are going. I won't keep you too long this time. So this is what Wyatt told me. He was actually telling me that things were feeling a lot better for him. He said people were being much more social, and he noticed that. He appreciated the fact that, like you two helped him with the circumference problem of the math thing.
Yeah, he called us up and he was like, I forgot the circumference of a circle, and so
How to
we all,
do it, yeah.
yeah, we all
came
came
to my
up.
house.
Yeah.
So you actually worked on your homework and figured that out?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Thank you for doing that, that's great. And one of the other things that he said was that he appreciated the fact that several people had given him compliments about getting a good grade. Who was that? Who did that?
Me.
You did that, Matteo?
Yeah,
I
You
think
did too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was too far away. I couldn't see his paper, so
Yeah.
I
So
wanted
I
to give
did
him
it.
compliments. But
how did that happen, Matteo?
Well, I sit like maybe 2 desks away from him, and he got like a B or something on this test, and I said, "Huh, nice job."
Okay.
So, yeah.
And nobody else noticed? You just kind of subtly gave it to him?
Oh, I don't think so.
I gave it to him first because like he got his paper first. It was a B plus.
Yeah.
Which was better than mine. So.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said well it was in science, so I was like good job. It was,
Okay. What did he say?
he said thanks.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you, you two. That's great. The other thing he mentioned that Sam, you talked to him about. You had a conversation about being in Wyoming, like we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah,
How did that go?
went pretty well.
What happened when you talked to him?
I was just asking what it was like, or like how he likes the city compared to his old
Compared to his
home.
old one? Yeah. Okay. Well, he appreciated that, right? So thank you for doing that. So I asked him, what difference is this making? And he said, so far, the bullying has not been happening. He's still a little bit nervous that it might come back, but it hasn't been happening since we met last week. And I really appreciate the fact that you've done a good job in that regard. And I said, so what difference does that make? And he said, I actually feel less lonely. What do you think of that?
That's
better than it
Yeah.
was because he like isn't like always alone and
yeah,
Right.
yeah. We've been like passing him and saying hi and stuff
Yeah.
in the halls and
and
stuff.
then we played after school at my house.
Yeah, that was fun.
Did you? Okay. So you've done even more than we talked about. You've been doing some stuff like in the hall?
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that's happened that you can tell me about? Anything else? Okay. Well, anyway, the main thing is that Wyatt has said that he doesn't feel so lonely and that he doesn't feel like he doesn't want to come to school. And I really appreciate the work that you've been doing.
And we walked to school with him too. So
Did you really?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all met up at the.
Yeah.
You met up where?
Oh, we met up
like-
at like the
At, like,
the
the-
park bench right near.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then you walked on your way, because you live not far away.
Yeah,
right?
we
Yeah,
all live
we
like
live,
right
like,
next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like we live like my house like our houses are like right next to
Yeah,
each
like
other.
right next
Yeah.
to each other.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you have any suggestions that you would like me to convey to Wyatt? You know, like anything that he could do that could help him feel less lonely? Because sometimes, you know, maybe you guys can come up with some suggestions. I mean, you think of something there, Corey? You sound like you were.
I don't know. I would just like tell him to like not be afraid to say stuff. I guess.
Okay. To not be afraid
To like speak out.
to speak out. Like, okay.
Yeah, like say hi to people that he doesn't
So
know.
he could be a bit more outgoing and say hi to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try to make more friends because not everybody is gonna not like him at the school. Like there
Right.
could be more people who would want to be his friend if he tried, if he
So
like
you'd like
asked.
to see him try a bit
Yeah.
harder too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Try to make friends. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to him, and I'll pass those messages on, right? But what I'd like to do is to just check with him one more time, at like this time next week, to see how this is going, right? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, you're okay with that, Dawson? Great. And if things are going okay next week, then what I'll do is that I'll just call you in and give you your certificate, because it sounds like you're really on target. This team is like another success story in the annals of the undercover team. You know, we've got one more success story, and I really appreciate your help with this. If I had somebody else in the situation, would any of you folks be willing to do this again? Like,
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
you had a lot of fun, right?
I would.
You would do it
Yeah.
again? Any of you guys do it again too, if we need it? You don't have to. I'm just interested if anyone would want to.
I would probably do it.
You'd probably do it again? Okay, right. You're not so sure. Okay.
No.
Sam?
I think so, but I have to think about it.
You have to think about it, right, okay. And one last question I want to ask, just out of curiosity, because I'm just interested in whether you've learned anything from doing this, anything of interest that you've thought
that
about, that you've learned from the
If
experience?
somebody is like in trouble and you notice, you should probably like help them and like maybe talk to the person. If like strategies that you thought of didn't work, talk to the
So
person
if
that
someone
was
is in trouble
like,
and
that
you
was-
notice,
and the person who was like being mean or not like being cooperative with them, you can maybe talk to that person
you can talk
Yeah.
to the person,
Mhm.
right, okay.
and say
Any other thoughts? Thank you, Caitlin, I appreciate that. Any other thoughts that you've learned from this?
I think I learned to like to be like more selfless and think
Learn
about
to
how
be more selfless, right?
like think about how other people feel. I guess.
Okay, and think about how other people feel. Other people, sorry, it takes me a minute to write this down. Okay, thank you. I appreciate this because I'm just interested in keeping a note about this, because I need to be able to tell the principal that these things have been working, you know, and this is useful to know that people are not only doing stuff that make people happy, but they're actually learning things from the experience, right? Anything you want to add, you two? Anything you've learned from this?
I think everything was pretty much said.
Everything was
I
pretty
was
much
gonna
said,
add-
right, okay, that's fine, okay. Anything else, Mateo, anything you want to add?
No, not really.
Okay, fine. Well, thank you, I appreciate the work you've done, and as I say, if there's anything else that Wyatt is not happy with, then I'll call you back again. But if he is happy with everything, then I'll call you just to give you your certificate and your voucher, like I promised, okay?
Yep.
And you've all done a great job, so thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you again.
See you.